G'day, listeners. Today I'm going to talk about something that, well, it kills off relationships before they even started. So most relationships are already dead before they've started, and people just don't understand that. And the reason for that is that people bring trauma into relationships. People bring unresolved inadequacies, scarcity, limitations, and they bring it into the relationship, and they expect the other person or the relationship to fix those things, or if the relationship will somehow hold a container for that healing in that space. And look, relationships are a place where you grow. They are a place where you can evolve as human beings, but they're not there to fix you. And too often people come in thinking if you love me enough, if the relationship gives you what I want, then it will naturally fix the problems I've come in with without me having to work on myself. And that just it's a killer for, and that's why the divorce rates are so high, 50%. And then second divorce rates are even higher than that, is because people go through life and expect somebody or the relationship to fix their problems rather than working on it themselves. And they keep bringing trauma in. So, for example, I used to do a lot of readings with people, and I used to, go against other psychics because they'd say, "Hey, you're going to meet your soulmate day in October, and he's going to super off your feet. You're going to have two kids. I'm with brown hair, one with blonde hair, and with green eyes. You're going to have a white picket fence. You're going to be it's going to be good." Most of that shit doesn't even happen, right? If you've had psychic readings like that before, you'll know, right? And I used to just say to people, look, no, let's have a look where you're at. So where you're at basically is you've had three traumatic relationships and your dad left you when you were a teenager. So you already got issues about abandonment from a childhood, right? And then you've picked three partners, one cheated on you, one abused you, and one disconnected from you. So you've already got a whole heap of insecurities before you've even started this relationship. And you haven't dealt with this. You haven't dealt with the identity. You haven't dealt with the trauma. You haven't dealt with what you think about yourself. And then you're walking around going, well, I hope someone can love me enough to fill the void. And that's never ever going to work. So in that space, is that person then is then dragging in the abandonment, the I'm not right, I'm wrong, the people pleasing, the abuse, the lack of intimacy because you disconnect, because you had to disconnect to save yourself emotionally from all this stuff, right? And that's never going to be solved by a relationship. It's not going to be solved by the other person. It's only going to make it worse because you haven't dealt with it, because you're expecting the other person to fix this stuff, or the relationship to fix this stuff, and yet you don't work on any of this stuff whatsoever. And that's the problem with people going into relationships without understanding their history, is that you're shot before you've even started, because that stuff that's unresolved will absolutely rear its head. And then that's not including the stuff about people's, money issues and scarcity issues and the way they're being brought in that way, bring that stuff into the relationship as well, not only those previous kind of things. Because if you're coming into a relationship and you've got those things, for example, happening, then you've got a whole lot of sort of beyond beliefs. It's an identity that is born in trauma. And it's born in that place of, like you said, I am wrong. I'm not lovable. Everything I do is, I'm wrong. I can't make anyone happy. Everyone abandoned me. Everyone leaves me. I have no safety. All that kind of stuff. And without addressing any of that stuff, it's just a red flag for a healthy relationship. And it's okay to start like the first 6 months or so, you're like, oh, it's all hunky dory. But once it gets into a committed relationship and things start to happen, and you start to go into a more routine basis of a relationship, all this stuff comes up. And then the disconnection starts to happen, and the fights start to happen because you're not doing this alone, and you're not doing this, and you're not doing this, and you're not doing this. And the moment you say you're not doing, you're in a stage where the other person's just going to get defensive, and they're going to defend their territory. They're going to defend their side of things, and it becomes this argument between two people who's not doing what for each other person. But the problem is that, what are you not doing for yourself? Where's the accountability on your end? Where's the point on your place where you can't go, no, I brought a train full of shit into this relationship, which I never addressed, and I never took accountability for, and I wanted you to fix it. And nobody wants to do that. And then you go through, say, marriage counseling, or you go through relationship counseling, and what happens is they focus on all the problems. And then all you're talking about is problems and problems and more problems and ways to fix it and strategies. And that's never going to never going to work at all. So if you want to have a healthy relationship, you want to start off something quite good, you have to deal with the past and you have to be accountable for it and you have to own it. Without that stuff, you're not going to go very far. The third thing is if you keep trying to fix problems, you're shot as well too, right? Because that keeps you in a low vibrational state. And, when you work with someone like me, you understand a lot of the problems you're trying to fix are actually problems. They're an illusion of the mindset, an illusion of the way you're thinking. And this is where a lot of, let's go therapists go wrong is they have a list of problems they're trying to fix without realizing that these problems are actually the problems back here somewhere based on the way you're thinking about stuff. And so that keeps you in the loop as well too. And then no one asks about, well, what am I being in a relationship? How am I showing up in a relationship? What am I bringing to the table? And too many people are blaming other people and projecting on somebody else. And we begin like, you're not doing this. Like, well, what are you bringing? How are you acting? How are you actually contributing to the solution for this, right? Because a lot of people are blame. A lot of people don't want to get there and go, well, I'm always going to find a solution. I'm always going to step up. I'm going to be solution focused rather than just talk about something that happened 15 months ago. And so you've got to be very much, you want to progress forward. It's not about ignoring what's happening or ignoring an incident. It's like understand the incident, understand the mindset of it, understand why it happened, and then come with, well, I'm going to be part of the solution for this. Otherwise, he's going to talk around in circles about a problem that goes nowhere. And one other thing, and I can't remember who told me this, right? I think it was in the Gottman stuff I've done. It was basically, do you want to be right or do you want to fix the solution? And a lot of people walking around is, and they won't admit this, but the problem is they would rather be right and with a point than actually find a solution because it's like, I've won because you're right, or I'm right and you're wrong and you're the one who's done this, and that's never going to go anywhere. There's no trust there. The relationship is shot in that space because if you're doing point scoring about who's right, that's a shit relationship. And why would you want to be something like that about point scoring, right? So you've got to get beyond the ego, beyond the identity, and understand that the relationship is a place to evolve, but in a very positive solution, challenging, evolutionary way. But there's a lot of stuff that people bring into this place that they don't necessarily get. And if you want to be right about your point of view, well, that's not necessarily going to go anywhere because nobody sees the world as you do. It's a very individual perspective. And one of the best ways that you can actually have a relationship is understand your partner, understand their history, understand why they are the way they are. Have empathy and compassion for that. I cannot let get away with not owning it. It's about having that place. Well, I understand how your history, how you're brought up, the last 3 relationships, how that would create trauma, why you're insecure in your body, why there is no intimacy. I can understand why you behave like that, but it's a thought pattern. And then that helps build trust and connection, all that kind of stuff. But too many people don't do that. So my point here is that most relationships are shot before they start. And they end up in some kind of disaster because people have these things they bring in that they don't address. If you have the self-awareness, if you have the intuition around it, if you have the foresight to actually look inside yourself and go, well, if I want to have this type of relationship, then I need to deal with my stuff. I need to bring my best version to the relationship, not wanting to somebody or something to fix me. And if you do that, you're going to be so far ahead of the game, it's not fun. See you later.